Happy Monday, guys. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Andrew McInnis, Carmine Bianco, and we are pumped to be back here. You know, I miss doing PuckTime on the weekends, Carm. I miss doing shows, and it's nice to relax, obviously. I did my every game on the board. You did your 6 and 60. But I always feel ready to go and fired up for a Monday. So good to be here. We got, 4 games here on the Monday slate. Let's hope we can make it a good one, man. Some decent games here. How was your weekend?
Up and down, kind of like some of the players in the NFL who definitely went down. Unfortunately, you never want to see guys getting hurt. The 6 and 60, man, it was, to use a Vegas mob term, it was 86th. I think it went like 1 and 5 or 1, 4 and 1, depending on what you got the total on in the Colorado game, which was at 6 for a while before it went to 6.5. We will bounce back from that. We always do. NHL. Wanted to quickly talk, Andrew. I'm not sure if you grabbed your coffee yet. If you did, if you haven't, you can go and grab it because I'm going to do my old man yelling at the clouds. Man, I had the over in the Dallas game, Dallas and Florida, over 5.5 in that game, and then got the best number because all the 5.5s were snapped up in the last half hour before the game started and went to 6. And it was, Florida gets 4 goals. Dallas shut out at home, and they looked absolutely flat. I think they had like 15 shots on goal. They didn't look good in the first period. Neither team looked good in the first period, but I think because of it was Tyler Seguin Day or night where they honored him, and whatever they had on the ice obviously contributed to that first period because that puck was bouncing all over the place. We talked about bouncing pucks. But they get shut out on home ice. I looked at the XG afterwards, and it was over 6.5 of XG. I'm like, okay, well, they created chances. They just couldn't score. So I apologize if you followed on that Florida play last night. But other than that, Andrew, it was sort of an up and down weekend. 2-1 here, 1-2 there. It's one of those ones where you don't get damaged, but you're upset because you didn't win. And I'm upset twice because not only do my bets don't win for me, but they don't win for clients either. Like I don't want a client going 5 and 4.
Yeah,
it might sound and because I'm not laying a lot of vig, it might not sound good. I want the guy to go like if there's like 9 plays between Saturday and Sunday, I want the guy to go 7 and 2 at worst. I know it's a lot to ask for, but it's what you want. We can ask for whatever we want, but man. Some interesting games, and today we're going to talk about the battle of the Sunshine State, Florida and Tampa Bay. Then we're going to talk a couple Canadian teams, Winnipeg and Ottawa. The return of I didn't know he was due back. I saw nothing of it on Wednesday all week when I took Washington in the 6 and 60 of Connor Hellebuck returning in goal for Winnipeg, and he looked good. He almost shut them out if it wasn't for a power play goal in the last 3 minutes of the game. They beat Washington 5-1. And then we're going to finish it off with an all-West battle, the LA Kings in Dallas to take on that Flat Stars team. See if Dallas rebounds from being shut out at home ice. Andrew, I know you love the team that doesn't score in their previous game angle, but we're going to talk about that later. And thanks, guys. Everyone in the chat. Los Kid, dude. I feel so bad for you. Listen, we joke around about, or I joke around about teams all season long, and guys will get on my case. They're like, why do you hate my team so much? Why are you an anti-fan or whatever? But the Pittsburgh Penguins, Andrew, against the San Jose Sharks allow like 4 goals, I think it was in the third period over a 12-minute span, lose the game in OT. And then yesterday, the exact same, wasn't it yesterday? The exact same thing. They allow 4 goals and then lose it in OT. Man, that is unbelievable. 8 or 9 third period goals by the Pittsburgh Penguins allowed on home ice in their last couple of games. That is rough. I don't know who you blame. Maybe you blame the coach for not calling a timeout when clearly the team is in a bit of a shambles. But did you catch any of those scores?
Carm, I mean, when it comes down to it, they couldn't hold a lead if their life depended on it right now. They could not hold a lead whatsoever. This Pittsburgh team. Are we starting to see teams overall in the NHL realize who they are? Like, people talk about the American Thanksgiving benchmark, but maybe mid-December that can be our new benchmark. We're starting to find out some of these teams who they really are. And, just like that, Pittsburgh looked so great. And now all of a sudden they're starting to fall off again, because there was a time where we were saying, oh man, if the Penguins play well, they're not going to want to trade anybody. And now they're starting to fall off a little bit. So, you know what, Carm, I will say this, that San Jose one, we have to look at it let's look at it from a glass half full perspective. I'm more impressed with what San Jose did than disgusted with what Pittsburgh did, because San Jose, good for them. They continue to come back. And one thing you got to give that team credit for is that they continue to fight. And I do respect it. Like, they play a full 60 minutes. It was a frustrating hockey weekend for me in the NHL, Carm, because I did my every game on the board video on Saturday. And so I, just like yourself, because you do your 6 and 60 prep, I had so many picks that I liked, but I didn't want to go crazy with the volume. And it was one of those ones where, like, a couple of the plays I left off the board were the ones that went through. So I saw a lot of guys were able to cash some tickets because of my video. But Tampa Bay was actually my favorite play of the day. And it's the shootout losses that are, I might be 0-4 this year in shootouts, Carm. And those can be a bit frustrating. But, it was a decent play.
I'm usually on the Vegas Golden Knights when it goes to overtime, and they have such a miserable OT record. But listen, not a lot of guys across shows, and I'm not talking about like WagerTalk, I'm talking about like anything, any shows that you see on like YouTube or whatever, will admit things like this. Like, on Saturday I had one NHL play, Andrew, and that's the one that ended up losing. But every other lean that I had, if I had released the 6 plays, and I'm not talking about the 6 and 60, I'm talking about the 6 other plays that I was looking at, but I left them on the cutting room floor. I'm like, they just don't seem strong enough, but I like them. I would have gone 1-5 with those plays. So I am glad I didn't release them. I just don't want to force someone to take a game in which I'm not entirely sure I want to put my money on, and that's always going to be that way with me. But a crazy, you look at the Edmonton Oilers. They go into Toronto. Tristan Jarry, they get the win against the Leafs, beat them like 6-3. Andrew, great story. My buddy Joe, Joe, you've met Joe, the guy who's the manager of that sports bar. That he posts an image of his ticket halfway through the game. He's like, "Told you, boys, easy money." He had he always plays overs in the Leafs games. He clicked on under and did not notice. He had under 6.5 when in the ticket. And posted a picture of the ticket, thought he had won. When I go, Joe, you took the under? He's like, oh man. Yeah, he was pissed, right? Because it literally puts you on tilt. You tell all your friends and you show them a ticket and you think you've won, when in fact, we've all misclicked in our lives, boys. We've all misclicked in our lives. It is going to happen. But with that said, and then they go into the Oilers, getting back to the story, they go into Montreal yesterday, and the Habs pretty much put on a clinic. The Habs were the better team from start to finish, and killed off a full 2-man, 2-minute power play in the first period against the Oilers. So kudos to your boys there. I won't even mention that Sabres are.
You don't really see that very often, though, eh, guys? Like, I want people to see it in the chat. Let me know. I mean, how often do you see it? 2 penalties on one play, Carm? Like, I talked to somebody and they said maybe 10 times a year we'll see that. Like, they had a delayed penalty and then another player took a penalty. So it was a full 2 minutes with the 5-on-3. Like, that was really tough, especially against the Edmonton Oilers. So that's tough. I do want to mention that I hit my college hockey free play I gave out on Friday, and college hockey 4% best bet. So maybe Fridays turn into college hockey Fridays. I'll give out one play every single Friday. The cool thing about college hockey, which is why I'm more comfortable giving those out than the AHL, which I have been following. But Carm, the AHL, there's a shit ton of teams, man. There's a lot of teams in the AHL. But NCAA, it's like football. They only play every weekend. Like junior hockey leagues, like in Canada for us, they play on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Tuesdays. But NCAA hockey, they only play on the weekends. So it's a bit easier for me to allocate my time handicapping when they only play on the weekends.
Yeah.
All right, before we get to the show, we do have to get to the show with the games for today. We got this graphic here to pull up, and I feel like it's important for us to mention this. This is a massive, massive trade. Carm, the last time you and I talked about a trade together, that trade was a little bit less groundbreaking with Stuart Skinner and Tristan Jarry. This time, Quinn Hughes, he gets his wish. He gets out of Vancouver. Rumor has it that he respectfully requested out. Obviously, the team was not going in the right direction. But look at the quantity that Vancouver gets back. They get a defenseman. They get a forward. They get a lot for this one player. A 2026 first-round pick, Liam Odgren, Zeev Buium, and Marco Rossi. And Carm, the only thing is with this deal here is that he is only under contract for a short period of time. This was not a sign and trade deal. So he did say, oh, well, I'm, could certainly be interested in signing long-term. We'll see what happens. This is a lot to give up for a player that might not stay for the next several years. If Minnesota is able to sign him, this is a banger of a trade. But especially if they don't sign him, I actually have to tip my cap to the Minnesota Wild for what they were able to do. I see, comments in here talking about this. Vancouver hauled in a major catch. Look, at the end of the day, you never want to lose a top player in the league. Quinn Hughes isn't just one of the best defensemen in the league. He's one of the best players in the league. But I thought they did a pretty good job. And guess what? Zeev Buium gets a goal and assist in his first game as a Vancouver Canuck. Marco Rossi is a great centerman, but he's injured. And Liam Ogren, good prospect, and 2026 first-round pick. So, Carm, your quick thoughts on this trade.
I hope I don't piss off any Minnesota Wild fans like Terry Edelman, but they're going to have to give him a huge sack of money in order for him to stay. It could turn out to be a rental player for the season, which means that they gave up a lot, and Vancouver wins that trade. Because if he truly wants to play with his bros, they're going to find a way of making it happen. So we'll see what comes of it. But you have to look at some of these organizations, and Vancouver played well in their first game without Hughes. It's kind of like always that bump after a move and when a player leaves, or like when a player gets injured. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with regards to this trade, but it's going to take a lot of money in order to keep him there. And they dished out. They do have the money there. I'm pretty sure I saw they can and do have the cap space where they don't have to front load a contract. But they did give Kaprizov a nice chunk of change as well too in Minnesota. So we're going to see. If nothing else, I live in a city or just north of it that puts all of their eggs in one basket when it comes to their hockey teams and their players, and it backfires on them.
Right.
So obviously that's the core four we're talking about in Toronto. And we're going to talk about Austin Matthews and the downfall of Austin Matthews on Wednesday's show.
Yeah.
There's some very interesting numbers on the X. And when you look at them, they are troubling. But we'll talk about that because we got to talk about Florida and Tampa Bay, Andrew.
If
Tampa,
I can,
-1.
If I can, just one more thing. I get the thought, and I'm with you that it's like a lot to trade for. The only thing I'll say is that I respect a team going for it. Like if this is a lot for a rental player, but Minnesota, they're kind of like the Carolina Hurricanes of the Western Conference, don't you think? Like every year they make the playoffs, it seems like, and every year they get bounced in the first round, or they're in around that wild card. Maybe they're trying to get over the hump. Maybe they're trying to be taken seriously for the first time in a while. Like it takes a lot. Like, look at Carolina. They tried to get Mikko Rantanen. He didn't want to be there. You try to get certain people. They don't want to be there. One thing I love about the NHL is how, teams can be different this year than they were last year, or the Blackhawks are doing better. The Sharks are doing better. I do respect the stones that Billy Guerin had for Minnesota for going out and getting Quinn Hughes, because you don't see that enough in the league anymore. But, all he can do is try as general manager, because, one guy named Kevin Adams for the Buffalo Sabres, he's about to lose his job because he probably hasn't been trying enough for making these trades. So I think you got to respect a guy for trying. You got to respect a guy for trying.
No, I do. And the last word on this one is obviously my take is that I would rather see some teams in the East, which I think the Eastern Conference is much more wide open, and then where one or two key players could put a team over the top, and especially beating the team, knocking off a team that could be having a down year because of the injuries, which is Florida. Matthew Tkachuk should be back. They're talking about in, I think they said in January. But Barkov likely he's gone for the whole season, could return for the playoffs. When they say could return for the playoffs, that's normally not a good sign there. I just think the Western Conference is so tough for a team to make it out of the Western Conference. You have Vegas, you've got Colorado, you've got Dallas. For a team like Minnesota, who's a very good team, they've got to beat likely two of those in a 7-game series, and I'm not sure if they can do it, but we shall see. With that said, let's get to it, because the comments later on are going to be like, come on, guys, give us some winners. Tampa Bay -135, Florida +111. End of the road trip for Florida. They're back at home, not at home, but in the Sunshine State. 5.5 is the total here. Andrew, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, it's kind of funny here, Carmen, because both teams doing some traveling, right? Not just the we had the Panthers a couple games on the road, Mammoth, Avalanche, Stars, and then of course the Lightning with that what was it? Devils, Islanders, Canadians, Leafs. I mean, they had a little bit of a roadie of their own. So this one's kind of interesting because they put up an 8 spot against the Devils, and of course, I was on them against the Islanders the next game against in New York, because I thought that rapid revenge angle was going to be there. They had already gone 0-2 against the New York Islanders, not playing very well. Figured it'd be a game they would take seriously. They had lost to the Islanders just 2 weeks ago and got shut out against them, and they didn't really show up. Look at this Panthers team, though. I think they caught the Dallas Stars in a tough situation. That was one of the plays that I talked about on my show. I did lean towards the Panthers side in that one. Didn't get to the window, unfortunately. But, Carm, when I look at this one, this to me is going to be penalty filled. It's going to be action packed. And I think with both teams so well traveled, I think the over's in play here. I think we see these two teams. They always get up for games against each other. I know we've got two good goaltenders, but I kind of lean towards the over. Both teams well traveled. There should be some fatigue mixed in there. There's been some good results there as well. I think that we get some goals in this one. And looking at some of the metrics here for this Florida team, they have been playing some tough teams, and even in the games they haven't gone over, a lot of the numbers say they should be going over, as they've certainly been finding their offense a bit more. Bennett has been picking it up. Reinhart has been picking it up, and it's been very good to see Tampa Bay get a lot healthier. So I don't know what it is. Maybe the Islanders just have the Lightning's number, but they couldn't score on that team. But I think tonight they'll find some goals. So Monday night over, I think Tampa and Florida, the battle of the Sunshine State. I think we do get an over here. And Carm, obviously looking at a game here in which, we've got one team coming back home after a road trip. One team, it's the last game of the road trip. But we always talk about the first game back home after a road trip. Is it a successful road trip? And I think that Tampa's going to have a bitter taste in their mouth after that shootout loss. They put up 8 against the Devils and they won a couple games in a row. But I still think they're going to be real motivated in this one.
Yeah, I don't think whether you've been on the road for 5 games, 2 games, or whether it's the beginning of the season or end of the season, that these teams need any more motivation than facing each other on the ice. They don't like each other. It is a rivalry like the Toronto-Montreal one, how the Ottawa and Montreal one has become now the Calgary and Edmonton, where the teams just do not like each other. And we see power plays, and hopefully we see power play goals. So it wouldn't bother me if you like the over in this one, because it's at 5.5 as opposed to 6. So and this very well could hit 6 at some point. We'll when we talk about like the end of the road trip, and it's been a very good road trip for Florida, and we'll see how they end it tonight in Tampa Bay. But they return home, Andrew, and it's a little tougher at home. It's like when we talk about wanting to fade them, and that's just talking about like the rest of this week. They come home, they play the LA Kings, who have been a very good team on the road. Then they get the Carolina Panthers coming to town. After that, they got the Blues, and they got Carolina and Tampa up next again. We're going to see if this Florida Panthers team is actually back in having won for their last 5 games. They didn't look good in Colorado, but the Colorado Avalanche make a lot of teams look bad, and they have done so this season. So, with that said, this is one of those ones where that game for Tampa Bay in New York on the weekend, they gave it a go. They played well, but we talked about this. The Islanders played just a little bit better to get that game into OT, to get a point out of it, and then win it in a shootout, which is a skills competition. I'd never say you're on the right side or the wrong side of a bet, whether it wins or loses in a shootout, because it's essentially a skills competition and could go either way. I would probably lay the $1.35 here on Tampa at home. They beat Florida earlier this year, 3-1 in Florida. I think it was at the beginning of November. I could see them doing it again here. I think they had a bad taste in their mouth about how that road trip ended in New York. They come home, and it's been a long trip for Florida. A successful trip for them as well too, but it wouldn't surprise me if this game went to OT, Andrew, as well too. So there's no Thailanders in this game, but this one could see a little extra time in it. So I'm going to lay the little bit of juice here. It's not very often you see Tampa Bay at home at -135 when they're having a good season. So with that said, I think they're giving Florida a lot more respect in this one, but I plus 111 is not enough for me on Florida.
Yeah, I get it. And you know what? Tampa Bay's numbers overall have been pretty solid. So, and I like what you said there, Carm. Like, it doesn't really need motivation for these two teams to get together. You don't need any type of reason for these two teams to get fired up to play each other. So I'm with you. And I think that look at how Tampa Bay was playing before they even got healthy. And now you get Kucherov, Point, Vasilevsky healthy, and the team's looking pretty good. So, and the thing is, you talk about it being like a skills competition. So if their one loss they've had recently is in a shootout, they're collecting points every game.
Yeah.
And to your point with, that draw price is actually pretty good. This could be a good draw night for that. So if you can, the thing is, I don't like to get any draw price under plus 300. And this one is plus 320. So I'm with you on that one. I think it could be a good one. Could be a good player prop game as well. I'm going to be posting some player props on Instagram and stuff later, but could be a good player prop game.
Yep. I think Panda posted a little earlier. He needs to find a dance partner for to go along with the third period over in the in this game. And I completely see where he comes from, because it's one of the reasons why I like John Cooper is if he's down a couple goals, he pulls his goalie with like 6 minutes left. He could be down 3 goals and he'll pull his goalie with about 7 minutes left. To him, it does not matter whether they lose 5-1 or 3-1. He's just going to pull his goalie, try and give his team a chance to get back into the game. But you're paying the vig on that over 1.5 in the third period. So yes, you need to find a dance partner for that one. Andrew, this game is really interesting to me. This next one, a Canadian battle here. Winnipeg, same price as the game we just talked about. Winnipeg 135 at home. Ottawa plus 111. The total sits here at 6. I want your thoughts on this one because this is going to be my pod play as well too, and I'll explain why after I hear from you.
Well, Carm, I think we got our answer to the question of, do the Winnipeg Jets heavily rely upon their goaltender? I think we got our answer to that. That's one thing I will say is that we got our answer when Hellebuck was out. And to be honest, it's no offense to Eric Comrie here. It's not as much of offense to Eric Comrie as it really is to just how this team was playing in front of him. And sure, he wasn't nearly as good as Hellebuck is going to be. We got our answer to how much they rely upon him. Now he comes back, and to your point, you talked about it, that it wasn't really confirmed. He comes back and gets the victory for them. Now, this Senators team has lost 4 of their last 5 games, I believe. They're struggling a little bit, and we have seen the Jets, kind of start to look better in their last couple of games, even when they didn't have Hellebuck. They've also been playing some tough opponents. I know the Oilers haven't been great overall this year, but they've been turning it around. The Stars, the Bruins have been better this year. And then, of course, they beat the Capitals. This, to me, Carm, when I look at this one, I'm going to not get ahead of your money line play. This, to me, is an under to look at. If you can find a 6, that's nice. That way you can, get the push, worst case scenario, hopefully. But I think Winnipeg having Hellebuck back and playing at home here, this goes back to old-fashioned, old-school Winnipeg hockey. And I think that when you look at a team like Ottawa struggling the way they are, they have to emphasize defense. And I know that overall this team's gotten healthier. They've got Stützle, they've got Batherson, they've got Tkachuk, they've got all their snipers out there. But when it ultimately comes down to it, when you get out of a funk, you have to get out of a funk with defensive hockey, I believe. So I would not be shocked to see Winnipeg drag Ottawa into that type of game. So I'll go look towards the under here. But, Carm, I know you've got a side play in this one, but I'll just add that, it seems like this team, it's like a confidence thing. It's like, remember what you said, what was it, last Thursday, when you said, you know what, if we have the Montreal Canadiens goalie making his debut, I'm interested in backing him because sometimes it gives you a spark.
Yeah.
Right? And they won. They played well defensively. Well, how good defensively did Winnipeg look in front of Connor Hellebuck? So maybe that made a little bit of a difference. So I like the under in this one here. What about you? What's the side you've got for us?
Yeah, I expect Connor Hellebuck to be in goal tonight because in looking at Winnipeg's schedule, it is spaced out. They play at home tonight, and then they're on the road, I think, for the next 3 games. And there's no back-to-backs in there. So he's going to get the majority of these, at least these next 4 games, but he should be starting tonight off of that effort because they need to make up some some points in the standings. But, with that said, if there was ever a live dog and one that seems to hang out in every game, it is the Ottawa Senators. And I'm going to explain this from an XG point of view. You look at their last 8 games, Andrew, the Ottawa Senators, and they've gone something like 2-6 the last 8 games, but they've never been out of any single game, and their numbers are better than every single team that they've played. They've generated over 8 games 30.33 expected goals, which is 3.78, something like that, I believe. But they've only scored 24 in those games, so they're underperforming by about 6, almost 7 goals. They've allowed 24 of XG, which isn't good either, but it's not too bad. It's only 3 per game or 4 per game, but they've allowed 28 goals. You look at the high danger chances, they've had a majority of the high danger chances. I think they've only trailed in 1 game as far as high danger chances. Shots on goal, they've led shots on goal, even though that's not a very strong metric. You still have to look at it. They're getting the opportunities to score. They can't seem to find the net. At some point, these are markers that can tell you a team is on the cusp of getting a win. Now, it's how fully invested you want to be on that team before they actually get the wins. But this is a team that I think is sitting on a win. And in a game like this, we should see Linus Ullmark, and it's the 2 goals should be Ullmark and and Hellebuck, and I'll check those once I'm done this. I actually believe the Ottawa Senators have a very good shot of winning this game. I'm going to take the plus 110.
I will say, Carm, with the fact that it's on home ice for the Winnipeg Jets, it is kind of a weird number. It is a bit of a weird number. It kind of intrigues me
It's
to.
a little fishy.
It kind of intrigues me to look towards that side as well. So, and looking at the opening number and one thing that I've been looking at as well, and I want your thoughts on this, and we all look at the market differently, and everybody that watches our show knows that I've been trying to look at things like this perspective more. Don't you find it fishy as well sometimes when you just don't see movement at all? Like the opening number is pretty much the same as the current number. It's like nothing has moved. Nothing has changed. That seems a bit weird to me as well. Like Winnipeg opened 133 consensus. Current number at most shops. Offshore, onshore, domestic, whatever it is. It's minus 130. Like it's the same number that we pretty much saw as the opener, which kind of tells us something a little bit here.
Andrew,
I wish, go ahead, Carm.
And the one thing I wanted to add, so you look at it, and I always think it's a good marker. You have to look at, sometimes injuries come into it, but sometimes you run into a goalie who is super hot. You look at the Sens. Their last game, which was played on Saturday, they lose 3-2 to the Minnesota Wild. The XG in that number, the XG in that game was 5.58 goals for the Ottawa Senators, 2.93 for the Wild. The Wild did what they were supposed to do. They generated three expected goals. They scored 3 expected goals. Ottawa generated 5.5 goals, only scored 2. Wallstead was the goalie in that one, stopping 34 of 36 shots on goal. So it's something you have to look at. The game prior to that, they ran into, I think it was, but they did win that game 6-3. They ran into Jet Greaves. The game before that, a 1-goal loss to the New Jersey Devils. You run into a goalie like Markstrom, and then you run into Binnington, and you run into Igor Shesterkin. So it's an over and over again. You run into Jake Ottinger of the Stars. So it's an over and over thing. But the thing is, they're not getting an easy goalie tonight because it's Connor Hellebuck. But let's see how his knee is, 48 hours later, and if they're as hyped on his return. Because at the end of the day, all those things I rattled off were all still losses, with the exception of Columbus for the Ottawa Senators. So you have to look at it. And I get it. There's guys who are like, I don't want to put any money on Ottawa, but I get it. You can bet favorites till you're blue in the face. You got to take some dogs. And normally, if I'm going to take a dog, it's because the analytics are pointing me in that direction. So that's my point to this one. We'll see what happens. This turns out 4-0 Winnipeg at the end of the game, then so be it. But this is how it goes. We're going to try and keep the pod going. We had a Friday winner with the pod. Saturday we lose in the pod play. I posted one on Twitter. We lose it in the skills competition, the shootout. But we're right back at it, and we'll see if we can get back on the board here with the Ottawa Senators.
Well, Carmine, I mean, you've hit some underdogs, you've hit some totals. Like we you're mixing it up, and obviously you've built the bankroll pretty well. I mean, you've donated to charity and then restarted the bankroll again, and you're doing pretty well with it. So, hey, how does 3-2 work for you for the Ottawa Senators? Can we cash that? Is that okay? No empty net goal. I wouldn't mind that, man. I wouldn't mind that.
I'm good with it. It should be a good game. Listen, no, Winnipeg. I understand why people want to play Winnipeg. You know what I mean? Connor Hellebuck back. They need to put some wins together, but you can't always blame the goaltending, because even with Comrie and I think it was Milik in goal, they were losing some games 5-1. Where was the scoring in those games? Yeah, you've got to score to support your goalie as well too. If you're supposed to be a very good defensive team, it doesn't matter who your goalie is. You should be able to play defense, but we'll see at the end of the end. I'm not trying to sell anyone on the Ottawa Senators, but I'm letting you know who I'm playing. That's the whole idea of the pod. With that said, Andrew, your favorite angle, are you putting it in play tonight? The Dallas Stars Minus, what are they here? Minus 133. The line has dropped this morning on this one. The Kings plus 109. Total sits here at 5.5. Where are you going, Mr. McInnis, with this one?
See, the best part about this, Carm, is I realized this a little while ago after some tough losses, I guess, with this. You only want to play this angle if it's a good team. Like, I am so done ever playing this off a shutout angle if it's not a good team that you're playing it with. And I'm sure you feel me with this. Like, I don't want to be looking at a bad team off a loss or a bad team off a shutout. But if it is a team that you can trust and a team that's offense you can trust, then you look towards the first period over. And, this team, they scored 2 goals against the Wild. And I was kind of shocked. Like, I backed the Wild in that one and a good plus price. And then I was like, this is kind of a good spot for Florida here. I'll take Florida. So back-to-back tough games. So even though the Stars got 2 against the Wild, we can still kind of say that it was a not so great game for them either against the Minnesota Wild when it comes to their offense. So look, these teams play 82 games. These teams, they're not going to have the same level of motivation every single time. And when I look at the Kings, they're going to be looking for some offense as well because they put up just 1 goal over the weekend against the Calgary Flames. Now, one thing interesting about this team is they haven't really been that battle-tested lately, the LA Kings, playing some tough teams. They played the Blackhawks, Carm. They played the Mammoth, the Kraken, and the Flames. Let's be honest here. Those 4 teams are nowhere close to what the Dallas Stars bring to the table. So whether you're looking towards the Stars, whether you're looking towards the over or the first period over or some type of play on the Dallas Stars early on in the game, I feel like all of these things set up very, very well. And now, the funny thing is, though, you've got that, what was it, the mom's trip, right, for the Stars or for the Kings. And like the only game that they really looked good in was the game against the Flames, and they only scored 1 goal. So not much to really be happy about. And that was the game back at home. So I think the first period over 1.5 sets up very well. And I will just tell you guys this is not an automatic angle for me anymore. This is only circumstantial for each team and the spot that they're in. And I think today, Carm, it is a good day for it. So, because I think that Dallas isn't just coming off 1 bad game, man. They're coming off like 2 bad games, I'd say.
Yeah, Andrew, that was a bad one. It was a bad one. Obviously, I watched it because I wanted to see 6 goals in that one. But as flat as they were, and anyone who watched the game, whether you're a Stars fan, whether you're a Panthers fan, or you just had action on the game, they were flat. Jamie Benn got into a fight where he absolutely pummeled the guy from Florida in that game. And normally you would think the fans go crazy, the benches are smacking their sticks and kind of what happened. And you think there's going to be a 5 to 7 minute thing where the Dallas Stars wake up. And you know what? None of that. They looked just as flat after the Jamie Benn fight as they did before the Jamie Benn fight. And that's what tells you when a team is in serious trouble in a game in which not even your main man going out there, getting into a fight to stir up the team and winning it convincingly. He just didn't do the, when they do the belt thing or whatever after winning the fight. It was, I don't get it. So you have to figure that they bounce back in this spot here. The only kind of troubling thing, Andrew, is, in looking at the prices at Odds Logic and on the WagerTalk site, and you look at these prices, it seems to there seems to have been some LA Kings money coming in on this game. Kings have been involved in back-to-back, obviously, OT games for them against the Calgary Flames, against the Seattle Kraken. So it is one of those ones where, and I think the only meeting this year was the LA Kings winning in Dallas back on the 23rd of October, 3-2. If there was one, Andrew, and I don't know if you can see the price on this one, if there was a game in which I would say of all the games tonight has a chance, the best chance of going into overtime. It is this one here between these two teams. What I think is going to be a low scoring game. I could see a 2-2 game that goes to overtime and ends 3-2.
I'm trying to find it here for you, Carm.
Find it, man. You can do it. And in the meantime,
Plus
Habs
310.
Relic. I'm
Plus
loving
310.
Habs Relic. 3-2 Dallas in OT. He says, "God bless you, Habs Relic." Kyle, welcome to the chat. Titans, you're always there. And Titans, thanks for tuning in to End Zone Live yesterday. It was a phenomenal, fun show where we sweat the games live, a bunch of us, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I actually gave out a couple of winners on that one. I took the Bills game in game, the over in that game, 51. That one won easy. And I took the Josh Allen over 182 passing yards at halftime, and that one hit quite easily. And I'm going to piss off all of you New Englanders. Sorry, the Bills are a better team. So that's just the way it
Carm,
is.
I got to ask you, though. You're a
we
Bills
spotted
fan.
you guys. We spotted them 21 points.
Yeah.
Pizza boy, Dave Portnoy. God bless the guy. He's a super nice guy. Does a ton of charitable stuff, which I think is fantastic because I'm big on that. But he was celebrating 21-0. He's throwing out videos, and those are the worst things. Anyone who celebrates early,
oh boy, here we go.
Is
Titans
the
CT.
golden mush. It is the mush. It is the mush.
I'm with you, Titans CT. Let Carm roll on about his bill. Carm, do you think in a playoff game you can go down 21-0? I don't think in a playoff game that's going to work.
Do you know that Kansas City Chiefs in the season in which they won the Super Bowl? I'm not sure if it was the first Super Bowl, second Super Bowl. They were down by 14 points, I believe, 3 times in the playoffs, and came back and won each one of those games. So
look at this.
Go. 20.
Carm, you weren't there.
14 is not 21.
2 pass interference calls, bad calls.
Oh, here we go. The old referee thing. Listen, first of all, when it's a simultaneous catch, the ball goes to the offense, number one. And number two, he pushed the Bills receiver, which is pass interference, and he still caught it. But we talked about refereeing. Guys, when you got people that are in their 60s refereeing games, the NFL, a $1 billion industry, you would think they would just have referees who don't have other jobs. You pay them a shitload of money to get the games right, be accountable for what they're doing on the field. And it's kind of like in soccer. If you're not good, you get relegated. And if you are good, you continue to do the marquee games. But with that said, Andrew, referees are only our thoughts on referees change with the results of the game. When we win, the refereeing was fantastic. When we lose, the refereeing was horrible. So it is.
I know how it is.
It's like that. It's like that with sports bettors. I given 3 plays on today's show. If they win tomorrow, I log in and Carm, you're fantastic last night. I go 0-3 on today's show. People log in and like, you suck, man. So
you know how it goes. You know how it goes.
It's life in general. Come on, man.
But we appreciate the people that are kind, because there's a lot of people that comment good things as well. But it's like when you go and you're trying to you're away on vacation and you look at reviews for certain restaurants or places. Because think about it, more people are going to do reviews when they're angry than when they're excited. Like, oh, if I had enjoyed this meal, you're going to just go home and be happy about it. If you didn't like your meal, then people go on complaining about the meal on these apps and stuff. That's what I feel bad for restaurants, because people that liked what they had, they don't go on and write a good review. But if they didn't like what they had, then they go on and write a bad review. So, yeah, guys, we're not like, I'll tell you, straight up, I was on TikTok last night, doom scrolling, as I always do. And there was this guy selling picks. He literally was talking about how he was on a 23-2 run. Like, he's up this many units in hockey and this many units. And if he had no joke, 1,500 live viewers on TikTok. That's the shit that pisses me off, because it's like, are you seriously going to say that you're like 24-2? You're up like 155 units in NFL. Like, people are just saying whatever they want to say and hoping people believe it. Like, this is why me and you are here every day. We're just giving out our picks, having a good time, and hopefully cashing tickets. I'll tell you what, I've got just 2 picks I wanted to mention for the same game parlay. These are not 2 guys on the same team. This is one pick from one guy on each team. We got Jake Gensel to get a point, Brad Marchand to get a point. And these numbers keep moving around. Literally during the show, Carm, the number has changed. I'm not even joking, like 3 or 4 times. It keeps on saying closed on DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever. Plus 140. Marchand point and Gensel point. Florida Panthers against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So those are 2 guys that I like here. Hopefully we can cash some tickets.
Andrew, cash some tickets. So I'm passing on soccer today, but I will let you guys know that I'm going to be watching a game today, and I've got some. I'm going to play this game, but it's not strong enough to release to clients. But I'm going to mention it here because I did mention the Man City won when they were plus 125 against Real Madrid in Real Madrid for Champions League, and I just thought it was a good setup for them in that game. 2 plays up in the NHL, which you can get. We still have that. I think we still have that hat trick deal going on, which is a great one as well, too. Andrew, this one makes absolutely no sense in what I'm about to tell you guys, but I'm going to play it. I am taking Bournemouth today, plus 307. Rob Braley is probably watching this show. He is a huge Man United fan. Listen, this team isn't in the greatest of form, but the last 2 Decembers, they have gone to Old Trafford and not been in great form and come away with 3-0 victories in both games. At the very least, I think this is one of those games where you could bet both teams to score in over 2.5. But I'm just going to, instead of sweating both teams scoring, I'm going to take the dog here, plus 307. And I might just add it to a couple NHL dogs tonight as well too, and see if we can hit a big ticket. But it's a game in which Man United should win. But I'm telling you, the last 2 seasons I've watched this team lose in December to the same team at Old Trafford by 3-0 score lines. Let's see it happen again, Andrew. How is that for a free soccer play? Only if it wins, Mr. McInnis.
Hey, you cashed Man City for us last week, and I'll tell you what, I was like, come on, Carm, are you serious? They went down 1-0, and then they scored 2 quick goals. So gotta love that. All right, man. We got to wrap up the show here. So I've got just one side and one total for tonight. No best bet for me in NFL player props, although the player props continue to do very well. Number 1 in NFL player props at the website, plus 20 units. But it's a great time. And I'll tell you what, guys, these hockey packages, now that I'm doing college hockey, you got the World Juniors coming up, starting Boxing Day. There's all kinds of hockey content going to be out. It's important to grab all access hockey passes as well at WagerTalk. Let's try and set a goal for today. If you guys can on YouTube, we're going to go for 145 likes. 100, not even any less, not any more, hopefully more. 145 likes. Let's see if you guys can do it for us on YouTube. Carm, wrap it up. Closing thoughts.
I would like 148 likes because 48 is one of my favorite numbers.
Okay.
I don't know why it's one of my favorite numbers, but yeah, let's do it, guys. Listen, we appreciate you guys tuning in as always. I know a bunch of you guys are just massively missing the Prez. He returns on Thursday from his ski trip, but tomorrow, Don Buster and Brian Leonard in the guest chairs for you guys, and a huge slate of NHL action as well too. Don't forget, it's Customer Appreciation Day tomorrow. And at 8 p.m. tonight is when a lot of the packages go live once the football game has started in the NFL. So I will have some plays up for you guys if you want to grab them early and beat the line moves. For myself and Andrew, Thank you guys for all of the messages in our chat. We wish you the best of luck tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. on WagerTalk TV.